I think we've seen Draymond continue to navigate some of his frustration on the court in other ways. And we've seen Jordan Poole act out of pocket on a basketball court. That should be checked, even when he's with the Wizards. Some of the things that he was doing on the court and his behavior is the behavior of a basketball player that needs to be checked.
Road Tripping reacts to the Jordan Poole and Draymond Green beef. Check out what they had to say, and then I'll come back with my comments.
Draymond Poole punch is back in the headlines. A social post went viral this week claiming Steve Kerr told Jordan Poole to stand up for himself, and that Poole called Draymond an expensive backpack for 30. Dre just responded with 6 cap emojis on Threads, flatly denying the rumor, but he's admitted before that he fucked that up, but now he's shutting down this version of the story. Obviously, you guys know Jordan Poole. He was traded to the Wizards in 23, but they had to coexist for that one season. If you're just kind of catching back up to all of this, it's still unclear if they really squashed things. How do you guys view this incident?
Yeah, I thought this whole beef was kind of, ended in a sense. No one's really talking about it other than Draymond Green. Draymond Green definitely looks like the bad guy. You put Poole to sleep and you ruined his NBA career. You ruined his Warriors career. That was his best chance to having a solid career in the NBA, remaining on the Warriors. Think about it. Steph ain't going to be around forever. Poole was supposed to be the one that was going to take over the franchise. He just needed a few more years being around Steph Curry, kind of molding his game to a sense similar to him. The preparation and everything, the maturity of the game. He didn't get that opportunity. He wasn't able to step up to the big bad bully, Draymond Green. Steve Kerr pretty much put him out there, but Poole ain't built for that. Poole just want to play basketball, make jokes, shoot from the logo, and just do his thing. He would have been a great addition to this team, this current team. I guess they had to choose Draymond Green over Jordan Poole, but I feel as though they should have chose Poole over Draymond because Draymond only wants to play with his king, LeBron James.
I mean, they don't got to squash anymore. They're not on the same team. So. It is what it is.
This is what I would say personally is that this is 2-3 years removed. So we haven't heard much from Jordan Poole about the situation. When Draymond first, we heard from Draymond, but everybody's got their own version of the story, and then there's the truth, right? Everybody's got their own version, and you're no longer teammates. You were champions together. I think we've seen Draymond continue to navigate some of his frustration on the court in other ways, and we've seen Jordan Poole act out of pocket on a basketball court. That should be checked, even when he's with the Wizards. Some of the things that he was doing on the court and his behavior is the behavior of a basketball player that needs to be checked.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, RJ, but being checked means, all right, we both talking junk to each other, then you're going to punch me in my face and knock me out and end my career. So you got to think, yeah, I get it. OGs always got to check the young dudes. Don't be out there doing some crazy stuff on the court and then talking junk to me behind the scenes. It wasn't a fair fight with Poole versus Draymond. Yeah, I get it. Poole shoved him. You could have shoved him back. And now if he was throwing hands, by all means, go off on him. But the sucker punch him and then ruin his career, that's totally different than Dre pulling him aside and be like, look, bro, you can't be going like that on the court, playing like how you playing, and then disrespecting me in practice. So Dre could have handled that better. The team could have handled that better if they knew there was some tension brewing up. But the Warriors, they dropped the ball, and it's starting to trickle down with Jonathan Kuminga. Think about how they're handling that situation with his contract. So the Warriors, they only care about Steph Curry, Draymond Green, and Klay Thompson at the time, and you seeing how the Klay Thompson thing ended. So they really only worry about Steph Curry, Draymond Green a little bit. That's all they're concerned about.
Talented player, NBA champion, no question.
Yeah, do you have an example of that?
No, but I'm saying on the Wizards, we've seen some of the shots, some of the attitude. We've seen that, right? And people be like, oh, well, this was what Draymond. And it's like, again, I don't know Jordan Poole in that space. Is no disrespect, but we could see there's a level of like, hey, Jordan, we got to clean this up. You're a talented player. You have the ability to be an all-star, but you also have to be a leader first, right? And we've seen Draymond struggle. So the fact that we even have seen behavior from both of them over the 2 years after they weren't teammates, that would allude that a clash was very, very easy. So I don't know what the truth is. They both are going to have different versions. So that's the end of what I have about the entirety of the story.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's this. You said something. He didn't like you. He wanted an excuse. He punched you in your face. And then y'all squashed the beef for a year and they kept him and moved on from you. And you got your bag. You went to the Wizards. And like Richard said, we as people who watch basketball didn't think you took it as seriously as you should. And now you're somewhere else. And so Draymond's still in and obviously, yes, he's working on his anger issues at times. But the facts are, you said something to him behind closed doors during a practice, and he hauled off and hit you.
Yeah, I get that, but I feel like they're moving the goalposts, just putting all the blame on Poole. Yeah, I get it. His actions on the court, he's a little crazy and wild out there at times, but does that mean he's supposed to get sucker punched? If I push you, you push me or whatever, and then you just punch me, and we supposed to be teammates, then the coaching staff is pretty much rallying behind Dre like, all right, Poole, go ahead, step up to him. They knew what they were doing by kind of hyping up Poole like, all right, bro, we're going to try to boost you up. Let you step up to Draymond Green. I don't even think they really wanted Poole on that team long term, but he did get his money after that punch. So getting punched helped Poole get that bag. But again, I get it. He showed a lot of immaturity, probably on and off the court. But for them to kind of be like, let's just throw Poole under the bus. This is all his fault. He deserved to get punched. I think they're wrong for that.
And you didn't get your lick back. And I'd be a little upset too.
The world we live in. It's the world we live in. This is the time that we live in. Like,
You got them feet hot.
no, but think about it. Think about it. Over the last 2 to 3 years, right? Jordan Poole has been remembered not as an NBA champion, but as a guy that was damn near knocked out by Draymond. Draymond over the last 2 to 3 years has been remembered or been talked about as a guy that caused problems on the floor. Not a 4-time NBA champion, not a former defensive player of the year, not a guy, Richard, what you call him? The greatest defensive
I think he
player?
is the most important defender of this generation.
Right. So we may talk about it, but society knows him as a guy that has been a troublemaker on the floor, got into altercations. And it's sad because I don't believe that Jordan Poole would never live this down. And not for us, we know what Jordan Poole was capable of. We know how important he was to that championship team. I think he's going to do well with the Pelicans this year. I really do. I think he's going to be okay. I think a new scenery. They got, new guys there running the front office with Joe Dumars and Troy Weaver. I think, hey, let's see, right? But as of now, he's always going to be remembered. Or when somebody says, can you imagine walking outside, going to a restaurant, and you have these assholes in the world be like, man, even if they're not coming off as how you let Draymond hit you like that, they may come off as bringing it up and saying, man, Draymond, no, I can't stand Draymond. Even bringing that up is reliving that moment.
Yeah, it's just one of the things you got to live with. Draymond, he's going to be known as that angry black dude. Poole is going to be known as the dude that got punked, got knocked out, that got slept. It is what it is. You get a lot of money. You're playing in a public sport. But there's some downsides to that back and forth that they had, that altercation. So it is what it is. Draymond, he's going to continue to comment on it from time to time. He was on an apology tour, but I guess he feels as though, you know what? He ain't really rocking with it. I think Poole's father had something to say. They may have had a little back and forth on social media. So I think it's going to be interesting when those two match up. I think they played each other once or twice, but I want to see how it's going to be when Poole, he's in New Orleans. They're going to play the Warriors about, 3 or 4 times, same conference. So it's going to be interesting when Poole faces Draymond Green multiple times this upcoming season.
Right? I just wish that he get his shit together, take basketball more serious, consistently, and really show us what the he could do. And I'm talking about Jordan Poole. That's why I think the Pelicans will be great for him.
Do you guys think that coaches should encourage younger players to stand up to vets?
Yes.
No.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
No, not to be punked. There's a difference between being punked There's a difference between being punked and standing up for yourself. At some point in time, a vet will have to tell you when you're wrong. In that place, I say no. I got hit in the back of my head because coach said something on film, and J Kidd be like, Richard, shut the up. Even if it's only 98% true, you have to be able to absorb it and listen. Even if he's screaming at you and only 60% of it is true, right? And it's also the time and place of when you stand yourself. Well, stand up for yourself. Like young players, we don't know shit. We do not. So like to have a vet, even if it's a person that's literally in his second year. Kenyon was only 1 year above me, but he was 2 years older and had an understanding of things, of just absorbing it. So as I'm saying, it doesn't always have, your vet could just be someone that has more experience in it. But as far as being punked, if someone's trying to bully you in your first couple years, oh yeah, no, don't, you can't allow that, because that is going to translate onto the court where people can bully you.
Yeah, I get that. You always want to stand up to yourself, but if they know that you're dealing with a Draymond Green that's toxic, why would Steve Kerr even sign off on that? I think you really got to pull those two players aside. Like, is there any beef going on behind the scenes that we need to know about? How can we nip this in the bud? We potentially want to pay Jordan Poole a lot of money to be the next person after Steph Curry. You kind of ruin your franchise and set it back a few seasons looking for that extra scorer. You had to go ahead and sign and trade for Jimmy Butler, and you're just all over the place trying to revamp that team. You lost Klay Thompson. Imagine if Jordan Poole was on this team, this version of the Warriors, when you got Steph Curry that's kind of aging out, has a few seasons left. You still got Jordan Poole, not even 30 years old yet. That would have been a good rebuilding piece. Like, all right, Steph, you can go ahead and walk off to the sunset. Here goes, $60 million for a season. Feel free to retire after that. So I think the Warriors front office, Steve Kerr, they dropped the ball with this situation. You always want to stand up to yourself, but you don't want to have any other issues like what happened with Poole and Draymond Green. Yeah, you can stand up to yourself, but that may not be enough when you're dealing with Draymond Green. The only person that can control Draymond is LeBron James.
It's two things. One, right? It's two things. One, it depends on who the vet is.
Yes.
Right? Now, if it's a franchise vet, you better leave that shit alone. Right? Like, if it's a franchise vet, yeah, you got to watch what you say, and sometimes you just got to take one on the chin. Two, it depends on who the young guy is. If you're a young guy that got drafted late in the second round, you know what I'm saying? I mean, late in the first round, second round, undrafted, you trying to, like, you better chill out. You gotta take all that, whatever it may be. You know what I'm saying? Now, I ain't saying overboard or not sticking up for yourself as a man, because we don't really we don't hear about these, like, guys are not fighting in the locker room like that no more. Like, since the Draymond Green altercation, we haven't heard anything about guys getting into a scuffle. Now, you may have some shoving matches and, all right, hold me back. They holding you back, but you really don't want to get loose to go swing them hands. Like, they have that shit at practice, and you go get into arguments. But guys are not fucking throwing punches. Like, we have a bunch of great guys in today's game.
Yeah, good point by Kendrick. Like, it really depends on who's the vet and who's the young player. Again, Poole ain't really cut like that. He ain't built like that for him to keep that same energy, because you're going to boost him up, then he going to start running off at the mouth, and then Dre going to punch him. Not saying that it's his fault or it's right or wrong, but you got to know who the vet is and who the young guy is. You know how Draymond Green is. You know he got an anger issue at times. So he going to go off on anybody. I won't be surprised if he went off on Steph Curry and we never heard about it, or Klay Thompson, or even Steve Kerr. You just never know. But unfortunately, that footage came out and it kind of made Poole look a certain way, and it made Draymond look a certain way. Draymond and Jordan Poole will never be cool.